would saying to myself, the one that needed to hear it, that please take your place in life. You're not supposed to take anyone else's place, but your own place, because there's a place for you to claim it. And to be able to feel that, I think you have to be also in some way confirmed as the person you are. Yeah. There's a man called R.D. Lang that I really like. He's dead, but his books are still there. And he talks about that we have to be not only biologically born, but also existential. Like to know that, in this case, that I am the agent in my life, I am the subject in my life. And to be able to really also use that potential in being who we are. It's also a way, to figuring out the balance between me, my needs and possibilities and limitations and my fears and all that, and a balance between that and what the life can offer me in forms of potentials and resources and limitations. And at the same time, there are other subjects, like me, going around in the world, trying to have a balance between themselves and the world. I think a lot of people I meet, and I feel that it was true in my life, that I've been very governed by outside demands on what I think I should be like, and maybe also other people's needs. And it makes us tired, it saps motivation and energy. So to be able to stay with myself and be more governed from inside.
Did you experience like a moment in your life when you finally thought, I'm getting there, or like you started thinking that way? Is there like a precise moment that changed everything, changed your vision?
I think for me it was gradually, and it also today, I can really have, it becomes really, for every day almost, I feel the feeling of owning oneself. And the responsibility also in owning oneself, because it's, and I know that you also know that being more concerned, or like starting out in one's own needs and will, doesn't make us narcissistic egoists. It makes us to be concerned with myself and being curious enough to find out what I want in life. Or when I do that, then I'm curious about my feelings and my thoughts, and I sort of can help myself manage myself, handling or regulate my feelings, things like that. That makes it possible not to, I don't have to project my feelings on anyone else. So I really become more open to other people, the more I own myself. I think we sometimes mistake that. We think that it's a good thing to be very open for other people's needs. But we have to start here.
Yeah.
We need each other. It's like the most fundamental things of being human, that we need each other. We are totally interconnected. But to be able to really connect, we have also to have like our own starting point here. And then we can go out and...
So it's also about taking responsibility for who you are, to have like a stable basis to interact with each other after finding yourself.
Absolutely that. If it's unbalanced in what I talked about, what I give to the world and what I get, we get frustrated. Yeah. We need to be taking part productively and actively in life as the ones we are. And then we have a lot of energy, and then we see others. Someone has said that it's a task of life.
Yeah.
It's to be able to be myself together with yourself. Like it's a very moving experience, and not so often that one can sit really being one is with someone else who also give herself the privilege to be. So I think that is maybe the existential struggle we all have. This of we want to be together. We need that. That it's being human. So it's union. We want that. But I want to be together as myself. I don't want to have to change myself all the time for being accepted. So it's union in that part, and then it's individuation, separation. And I mean, that's kind of a struggle the whole life, to be together, but to be together as the one I want to be and as the one I am. The more we can be flexible in that and respect ourselves, then we can respect others and life becomes more and better. And there are also days, you know, when I feel that the contact with myself, who I am, is not so evident. Maybe because of some thing I'm supposed to do, and when I get stressed and I get performance anxiety or something, oh, now it's very important. Then I can still lose myself in that. But I notice when I lose myself, and I can do something about it. And I think that's something. So I mean, it's fluctuation, and but the awareness of what is important and how I work. It also gives my life meaning to see that this is the important thing. All the other things that we strive for, but being in contact with oneself and others. If we can do that, well, then it's a good base for life.
Is there specific tools that you can use when you lose yourself to find your way back? Is there things that helps you get grounded in yourself?
I think the fact that I try to get grounded, you know, that I have like these mindfulness practices. I could do it more often and more thoroughly, but I do it. And I think that makes me, because I really have this feelings, you know, when you come to work, or I feel a bit stressed and and a bit fragmented in stuff, and then doing only maybe 10 minutes of mindfulness, then it like I center myself again, and like I can see what this is. So I think that grounding oneself with whatever tool you need, but mindfulness, breathing, anchor yourself in yourself and in the now, being present. It's such a rare gift to be able to give oneself that. It's like a prerequisite for being in life is that we're here, and not only thinking that everything is like something I have to do before, then I will be there, and when everything is okay, and I am okay. I think I thought that for a long time. Afterwards, later, when I've sort of really worked on myself, when I will become the swan I'm supposed to be, then. But you know, we never become that swan, because we are who we are. We are a swan already, I think. Someone once said, perfect, it doesn't exist. That's why we call it perfect. We strive for something that's not there. It's impossible to be perfect. That is a bit also what I mean with taking one's place, taking responsibility for oneself. That's a good thing, because it gives you the influence and the possibility to act on life as we want to. But you can't take responsibility for others. The saying yes to oneself, and accepting and respecting oneself for who we are, that's really a big task. But the minute we can do that, a lot of those things, it's easier to live our own life, because then we don't have to compensate or trying to be something we're not. I think a lot of people, a lot of the anxiety and depression and stuff is a bit about that we don't dare to really step into life. Because when we do that, we also have to take the consequences. And maybe then we just hold ourselves back and becomes a bit not so pleased with life or with ourselves. So it's a lot about courage also, not pushing oneself, but maybe pulling oneself in doing what we want to do. Being a growth or a validation seeker. We have to forgive ourselves. Sometimes we just go for validation. It's okay. But if we go and do it all the time, it's good also to have a stable growth seeker inside us. How do I know I'm not going for the validation? How do I know I'm really doing this because it's meaningful for me? Or so before, I think I only in a way went for validation. I lost myself in not knowing what I wanted. But because going for growth, then I think it really again has to start with, okay, what do I think is meaningful, and what do I want to do? What are my goals in life? Maybe seeing the big picture of where I want to, not only professionally, but so I think that maybe it starts with that, to knowing where I'm heading. You have that as an anchor in your life, that something is very meaningful. I think maybe that's a lot. Then maybe it's not all that important, you know, to have all the answers when it comes to where you want to end up materially, or because maybe it will come to you in one way or another. Life experience has given to me that I didn't need to worry so much. I think that a lot of the things I've been worrying about has never happened. It's more like, instead of worrying about being enough, doing what people expect from me, I should have worried more about what I wanted. But I mean, that's the kind of stuff older people say to younger, that oh, everything will be all right. I mean, I didn't listen to it. But I mean, if I rephrase it, it's still that, you know, if you follow your path and you're out there, you have all the possibilities to meet someone. And of course you are now wondering about who am I, and you take references from your life. You're so young, yeah? It's like you're beginning on the path, and you have already come so far. So I think you have to take it easy on yourself. Yeah, you will have to rewrite and maybe take another track and do detours, and you have the time to do that as long as you know what you're doing. Yeah. I once met a man who told me that he didn't feel he had a place in life, like he wasn't allowed to be part. And that was in a kind of context when we talked about things like that. And I remember I thought it was a very strange thing to say. And then after a while, I sort of recognized in myself this longing for belonging, to trust that there is a place for me, for who I am. And I meet a lot of people that I think don't have the real contact with themselves, not knowing who they are. But because to be able to trust that there's a place for me as the one I am in life, I also need to trust myself. And to trust myself, rely on what is me. I have to know myself. So I think it's really a task I think I put on myself, that when I meet young people, to help them explore or participating in becoming who they are. I think that it all sort of both begins and ends in being who we are, and knowing who we are, and owning all that. So to begin within one's life as a young person, to not scrutinize oneself, but more looking on oneself with the eyes of a grandmother. Okay. Being interested and kindly interested in oneself. That's the journey, I think.